Today I'm giving my thoughts on Darktide's latest patch after playing it a little bit and reading more about it, just to make sure things actually made it in the game instead of being redacted like the last one before Christmas. And good news, it looks like most of the stuff actually ended up making it in the game, so that's nice, and I'm sure we'll find out later this week about more stuff that didn't actually get fixed or make it in. But before we do start up, I do have to thank everyone for all the help yesterday with the broken SSD ideas. I ordered one of those USB hub enclosure things to plug it into that you guys talked about, so hopefully when that gets here tomorrow, I can rip all my data off of it and get back everything that I lost. I'm not that good with that stuff, so I actually do really appreciate the help, and I just hope it ends up working out. So for now, we're just lighting this off with the patch notes. So patch 1.0.22, the big update that we waited a little too long for. Reject. So first of all, this pisses everybody off. Like, I know that it doesn't bother the majority of us, but like normies that play this, like, hate this, by the way. Hate this. So like, Fat Shark, figure it out. Nobody likes being called a reject, especially after you've taken a little dumpy on them for 2 months. First, I want to introduce myself. I'm Catfish. I will be the community manager for Darktide going forward. I reached out to Catfish, also ignored me. Who knew? Couldn't tell you why. I don't know why the community managers don't want to talk to me. In this update, we will address some of the community questions from our open letter and give you patch notes from this week's bug fixes. Roadmap. We hear your enthusiasm for an updated roadmap for Darktide. However, we adjusted our short-term plans to allow for more work on our top priorities, which mainly revolve around getting the game to where it should be, because we're in the process of adding changes in accordance with the feedback we have received since launch. Since certain features we hope to have in the game, like actually finishing it, we'll add that in there, by now to have it been pushed back. We aim to bring you an updated version in the future since we have a more concrete plan in place. I mean, just about the roadmap, like, it was so obvious to anybody who played the game at level 30 for even like 2 or 3 hours. Like, the game it doesn't have that much depth to it. You just logged in and you played and you were like, wow, it really sucks to get items. Like, it's quite literally team leaders and like people in charge need to play the games that they're playing. Like, you cannot have these people in charge that are like, I'm guiding the train, where they ran it off the rails. Like, it was just so stupid. It's like, okay, getting things you want sucks. There's not enough map diversity. Things are kind of boring. Of course the roadmap needs to change. Like, we're adding we talked about it yesterday. They cherry picked like the stupidest ideas from like the lowest tier like ideas possible that could have even existed. Like, let's add private lobbies with bots that don't work. Like, cool, bro. Anyways, this is going to be a ranty one. You could watch yesterday's video and it'll kind of explain that, like, they're not going to do anything for like 1 to 2 months for any content. So they nuked their player base, and they I don't think they like their content creators very much, to be honest with you. Third-party services. And this one's actually kind of important. The third-party services, while we are generally supportive of these kind of community-developed tools, we are aware that there are third-party services available which interface with our backend APIs using authentication tokens required from our web services or the game itself. We just wanted to make sure that all our players are aware that Fat Shark will not be accountable for any issues caused by these tools, and we don't support the token any other way with the official game client. This is done entirely at the player's own risk. The danger of these services that you're effectively giving out your Darktide account credentials with potentially excessive permissions to a third party, which Fat Shark has no control over. The reality is Infamy Studio has been in the Vermintide community for years and years, and he made this website with a couple of people that like genuinely want to have the Darktide website, right? So the reality here is they are pretty trustworthy. I've talked to them pretty heavily. I've worked with them a couple of times already. These are the same people that are data mining the game. Like, when the post goes up on Reddit about all the data mining, that's from them. Like, that's from Darkmass. You want to data mine Darktide? You're using Darkmass's like base stuff. Like, they're the ones doing all the stuff. They're the one getting all the information. And the reality is Fat Shark is not partnered with Darkmass. They're partnered with Games Lantern. So the shade they're throwing at Darkmass without saying Darkmass is actually kind of messed up, considering Darkmass has done more for the community than anybody else, quite literally. Darkmass is pretty trustworthy. I know almost everybody uses the shop checker. Anyways, I'm also working on porting a damage meter in with a scoreboard at the end of the game. So we'll see how third-party services go from there. That was actually mostly done, and it was on that SSD. So if I can rip that off, then we could have a actual working damage meter for the most part. So we'll see how that goes. And if the community managers would respond to me, I guess they could do something about it, but we'll see. So starting with the first one, the heavy last pistol, nobody was really using this thing anyways. It's pretty average. And the Thunderhammer, these changes didn't do anything to the Thunderhammer. I'm going to be honest with you. I remember there's a couple videos that went up about the Thunderhammer that were like, yo, like this thing got buffed. Let's just take a look at how big the buff actually is. So basically, it's still going to take 3 hits to kill a Crusher, pretty much no matter what. Actually, let's double ult it. Yeah, no matter what, it's going to take you 3 hits. I'll just show you mine really quick. This is pretty much a max rolled Thunderhammer. I could get 7% more penetration, which might actually be able to 2-shot it with 2 ultimates. But the reality is the Thunderhammer buff is just, it's not good enough. It needs to explode. It needs to CC things around it. The Thunderhammer just in general is such a lackluster weapon compared to like it looks cool, right? And then when you compare it to the Power Maul has that big CC around it, and the Thunderhammer should have that big CC around it. So it's almost unnoticeable because like 5% carapace on heavy attack. It's like, what's the point? You should be able to 2-shot a Crusher with like an almost max rolled Thunderhammer pretty reliably, in my opinion. So Thunderhammer buffs, not really existent. You're never going to notice them. The next one was just a fix for your special attacks for your Power Sword, Blaze Sword, Tack Axes, nothing crazy. Assault Chainsword, 3rd and 4th, like this, who cares, right? The detailed stat screen was already a mess, so like nobody really cared about the little pictures. There's a couple of those. Fixed a bug where you sometimes couldn't use the second attack of the heavy combo when sprinting with the shovel, like, okay. Next is the flamethrower, unnecessary animation wield. Fixed a bug where the Ogren's weapons didn't receive attack speed buffs. Can confirm this one is true. You can actually get the attack speed to the shield now, so that's great, honestly. Fixed a bug with the heavy attacks on the combat axe. Fixed the damage calculation code for stat screen weapons so that like it's a little more accurate. For the Percato's Flame Staff, you couldn't change weapons while you were firing the charged secondary action. I guess that makes it a little more fluid to use. Fixed responsiveness for shooting after aiming down sights with the Brax MK3 Headhunter autogun. I'm pretty sure that was the only good Headhunter autogun. Had an ability to cancel reload when using your weapon special for the MK7 Headhunter autogun. I mean, it's just garbage anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Fix an action on the MK5 kickback and the Rumbler to use special attack. Kickback is just a bad gun in T5. Like, it is not good outside of like T3. So like, that needs a buff too. Rumbler is one of the best weapons in the game, surprisingly, after testing it a lot. Trauma Staff and Void Strike Staff. The parallel costs to be more in line with each other. So the Void Strike Staff didn't actually get nerfed that much, and the Trauma Staff got a massive buff. The actual damage fall off on the circle was changed. It used to just like kill the thing in the center and then have damage fall off on the edges. Now it looks like it actually does consistent damage across the circle, or at least more consistent damage, and its perils cost is like way less. You used to only be able to get 2 attacks off with the Trauma Staff. Now it's actually pretty okay, so that's good, but it probably needs to have like double the radius and do more damage. I talk about that in the tier list that's coming out tomorrow. The Spearhead Bolt Gun, Crosshairs, nobody cares. Flame Staff and Flamethrower, burst flame attacks would not hit enemies if aborted too early. Weak Spot Hit Marker did not work properly with weapons with explosions. Now this one's important because that actually buffs basically all the explosive weapons that would have actually exploded and hit something. So I don't know if this is currently working. This one was a little hard to test because it's so hard to like see. So we'll have more info about this change a little later in the week. Fix bugs where you couldn't activate the Force Sword or perform specials with the tactical axes while blocking. Headhunter autogun again. I really wish these were in order. Hip fires could be interrupted by, this is so lazy, honestly. Like, come on, like at least put them in order. The Headhunter autoguns just suck, so who cares? If you're hip firing a Headhunter autogun, like why aren't you using a braced autogun? Fix the bug in the light attack combo with the Crusher to deal less damage than intended when activated. I mean, the weapon already just does low damage, so you know you're just charging it up and hitting anyways, not a big deal. Fixed issues where switching weapons at max recoil would add a constant offset to the camera. This was actually toxic and annoying, so like a lot of people didn't even notice this. This one was pretty bad. Fixed issues with the Ripper gun where reloading while braced and then releasing the aim button would cancel reload. I didn't even know that was a problem with the Ripper gun. I'm going to be honest with you. I just sprayed that thing around like crazy. It's a fun weapon to use. I have a couple VODs of it on tier 5 of my alt channel, but like I didn't know that was a problem with the Ripper gun, so I guess that's okay. Tactical axes wouldn't effectively put, this was actually so annoying, and I could never figure out when I was testing these weapons why whenever you tried to push a pox burster, like why it wouldn't work. So I guess that was a problem that I just didn't know really existed. This basically just fixed the Katachan swords to be a little more consistent. Fixed attacks that were unaffected by weapon stats. Some of these are hard to read. Like, I have dyslexia, so like it's hard when the words are already stupid looking. So like, I don't know, maybe that's just the way I'm reading it, that maybe it's worded correctly and in my brain it just looks wrong. But fixed attacks that incorrectly were unaffected by weapon stats. I don't know, that just seems wrong to me. But again, who knows? I'm the one with the problem. MK8 combat axe, light to heavy combo. Who knows how many weapons are broken where like the combo just doesn't work correctly? Like, okay. So it really just seems like the combat axe, the tactical axe had a problem. Nobody really uses these weapons. Everybody uses the MK5 axe, then the tactical axe. I can't remember which one everybody uses off the top of my head. MK3 cleaver is the good one. Nobody really uses the other two cleavers because they're just not even close to the MK3, like not even close, by the way. These changes are kind of needed. And I'm sure over time we'll find out that there's more weapons that aren't actually working correctly. So that's good. I didn't even know these were actually problems because like I really only use like the most meta of the three weapons for the most part when I play, because I really only play T5. Fixed a bug for the Ogre and Power Maul where the second attack and the light combo couldn't be performed while sprinting. This one's chaining attacks down sights for the Hellbore last guns to make the sequence a bit more responsive. If you're using a Hellbore last gun without Onslaught Blessing, it's literally pointless. Like, you're actually just not having fun. Like, I promise you, if you use a Hellbore last gun with Onslaught, it's great. It's actually good. All three of them are okay. The MK3 feels a little bad, but the MK1 with the Onslaught Blessing, probably one of the best guns in the game, and the MK2 is good with or without it, but all that responsiveness nonsense when you have the Onslaught Blessing doesn't exist. Just get the blessing and don't use the gun otherwise, in my opinion. Like, I know it's RNG, but so is the whole game, so that's where we're at. Fixed a bug where activated push-up follow attack with the heavy eviscerator wouldn't stick to enemies. And the next one is probably one of the most important ones for me because I love using the bolter on the veteran. So before this, you couldn't ult with a melee weapon out and then have your bolter out because then it just wouldn't shoot. Like, you would have 3 seconds of your ult where your bolter was just there, like it didn't exist, like it was stupid. So that actually did fix it. So when you ult now, you could just shoot right away. So like, that's a great change. That was something I complained about since actually literally the first day of the last patch. So good job. Change the Hellbore last guns again with the patch notes. Put things in order. Why do we have Hellbore here and Hellbore here saying almost the exact same thing? This is the exact same note. Responsiveness, easier. Like, it's the same thing twice. Again, Onslaught Blessing. I don't understand why they're not together. 4 staffs displaying incorrect damage numbers in the weapon stat screen. So most of the blessing stuff's already just annoying because crafting's not in the game, or enhancing. I guess it's better to call it enhancing. Fix an issue with thrust, up 20% scaling power with heavy attacks. Like, okay, cool. Warp Flurry with trauma staffs. Trauma staff was not working correctly anyways before this because you could only cast twice, and then the third one blew you up. So now you can cast a whole bunch of times. Warp Flurry can actually be used. Right? Cool. I mean, already this was so RNG that this actually was like, this pissed so many people off. So that's, I guess, okay. We'll see if that actually like follows through. Fixed issues where some blessings could be active when weapon was not wielded. So this, I think, is directly affecting Crucian Roulette, giving you infinite crit chance. So that's unfortunate. It might still do that. I'm not really sure. Shred weapon blessing allows you to keep critical strike bonuses when wielding another weapon. So now that they specifically said shred, it makes me think that maybe Crucian Roulette's still in. So I guess we'll find out later this week. That's not something I tested out. I don't have a weapon with Crucian Roulette to test this, so that's really interesting. So somebody else let me know, because I don't have a Crucian Roulette weapon. I play a lot and I don't have a Crucian Roulette weapon, which is crazy. Fixed a bug where downwards vertical attacks could spin enemies. That was just fun. And then I think the rest of this is all suppression. Let's take a peek. It looks like it still spins them around. So, I mean, they fixed the melee, just not the ranged. Oh, I mean, that looks good. I think we have to check it on this guy, though. Oh, yeah, no, it looks okay. Can't complain about that one. Seems to be working okay. Feats and abilities. Kinetic deflection did not pause. Oh, no. Stop nerfing the Psykers. This is just dumb. They're already, like, down horrendous. Just let them have the one thing. Okay, fixed exploit where switching weapons before exploding after 100% brain burst would stop you from exploding. Oh, come on, bro. Fixed a bug where rank 3 Fire Frenzy didn't give correct damage increase. Okay. And again with the Psyker, why put them out of order? Come on, just put all... Okay. Fat Shark. Next patch notes. Please put them together. Like, just Psyker. Sharpshooter. Like, just put the thing things in order, please. This is annoying to read. I'm going to be honest with you. I already have problems reading, so this is crazy. Kinetic, anyways, stop nerfing Psykers. This is good. This is good change for the pustules and eyes because that would just be annoying. Actually, maybe it's not. Who knows? But this sucks. Like, just let the Psykers have something. They're Psykers, Brain Burst, Cast Bar wouldn't... I should have just rewrote these. I should have read this first and then rewrote them so that it was easier to read. Gain toughness from the Preacher's dash ability when consuming the ability charge. Sharpshooter would trigger volley fire when reloading, and having sustained fire feat, the reload animation would continue to play. Rend Blessing and Brittleness. This was bad, actually, because if you had a bolter with Rend on it, you would be shooting a Crusher, and your damage would go down over time instead of up, so... that was pretty bad. Yeah, oh, there it is. Crucial. Why wouldn't this be in the... oh my god, bro. It's just a mess. Why wouldn't this be earlier? One after another feat, icon appear in the HUD. Okay. Brain burst through fences. Oh, thank god, you can brain burst through a fence now. That's crazy. Fixed issues with Ogren stuff not working. That's good. Fixed issues with Blazing Spirits on some of the staffs where, like, it just didn't get hit by explosions. Kinetic overload could target a demon host that wasn't active. Yeah, that's probably not good. Fixed issue where punishment did not stop the preacher from being stunned. Toughness regen speed Curio only gave bonus to toughness regeneration delay of coherency. Oh, interesting. So I guess that's fixed. Fixed issue with sustained fire blessing for all Hellbore last guns. It's so out of order. Like, put the things together. Quietude did not work with the transfer peril blessing. Fixed issue so you are no longer block broken when at 0 stamina with kinetic deflection. Fixed issue with Ascendant Blaze that wouldn't trigger on Purgatos Flame Staff kill. Yeah, that's something else. All right. Corruption resistance Grimoires did not affect corruption gain from Grimoires. That's crazy. Thread Weapon Blessing allowed you to keep critters. I actually feel like my brain's lagging or I'm repeating myself because, like, this is crazy. Anyways, crash fixes. A bunch of these crash issues are good, I guess. I think that this is the most important one. We're fixed a server crash issue, just like quickly glancing at it, because every time you close the game since it came out, it would crash. So I guess that's good. And then a bunch of small crashes are fixed, I guess. Cosmetics. Fixed some clipping, I guess. Fixed an issue where effects were being suppressed under fire from enemies, but not actively taking damage were missing or inconsistently triggered. Fixed issues were getting knocked down sometimes, wouldn't add a wound correctly, whatever. Power level buffs now affect stagger and cleave as well as damage. Okay, that's good. Power level is a weird one in the game that never worked correctly at all and probably still is broken. Fixed issues with damage numbers in Psychonanium that sometimes displayed the wrong color. Okay, so my overall thoughts on these patch notes is they kind of just fix annoying things that disrupted the gameplay that we've been complaining about since day one. So I guess that's good in a way. What I'm annoyed with is that the patch notes were just so out of order and rushed, which just seems to be the MO here. The first patch notes, things were pretty in order, right? I don't understand why I have to read Hellbore, Bolter, Hellbore, or like, you know, what was it? It was like Veteran, Preacher, Veteran, Ogren. I know some people are going to be like, oh, that doesn't matter. It does matter. Just overall, like, stop rushing things. Like, you had so many literal weeks to, like, get this all together, and it was just frustrating to read. Stop nerfing things altogether. Like, nerfing anything is just stupid. Stop nerfing stuff. It's ridiculous. You're fixing bugs and stuff. That's cool. Never nerf another thing in this game again. There's no scoreboard. Again, I'm working on a damage meter, so there will be a scoreboard eventually, and then then we're going to have a lot of fun. Honestly, this is just the next tide becoming real, and I don't actually think this is everything the game needed. I've detailed it in previous videos in depth about the things that needed to be fixed. There's still a lot of stuff. There's a long way to go, and I know that some people are just, like, taken away by the lackluster corporate letter yesterday, and this just overall missed the mark for me. They hung the players up to dry and the creators with no contact for so long, other than maybe the next week post. And as some people will say, just be happy with it. They're moving in the right direction. Are they, though? I think that just in general, we're going to feel nothing or almost abandoned for multiple months at this point. They hung the players and the creators up to dry with no contact for so long that I don't understand how anybody could be happy with it. The best analogy I've seen is you ordered a pepperoni pizza and it came without cheese. And I think that is the reality. You're going to eat it. You're just going to be annoyed with it. And I think that is just the reality. Is the patch notes are just kind of annoying. Just the reality is that we waited multiple months for no content update. And now they're kind of just saying, oh, well, we're going in different directions with the game. It's like, finish the game. Like, that's it. There really doesn't need to be a change of direction. Finish the game. That is quite literally it. So I think that we're really banking on this patch to, like, hit the mark. I know a lot of people are just going to be, like, super happy with it. They're going to be like, this is amazing. It's the best thing ever. But it's it's just very average. So I'll be streaming over on Twitch probably when this video goes up, and everything else you need is linked in the description, including the other videos where I detail a bunch of the other stuff that actually needs to be changed with the game and for the future of the game. So I hope you all have a good night, and I'll see you in the next one.